No intro this time. You people know who I'm crediting by now. We're just gonna get straight into it because I've kept you waiting long enough. Digitamon is only going to be relevant if you play with Reborn on. If you play with Reborn off, you can ignore this part of the video. He spawns in Modular Forest if your active partner is a perfect level or lower Digimon and they have Reborn points. To earn Reborn points, your Digimon must have died at least level 15 or higher with at least 4 Hearts of Friendship. He's at level 69 and this is his battle information. This is the only battle info I will cover in this video. Once you recruit him, you can show him your active partner and he'll tell you how many Reborn points they have. The maximum you can have is 150. Geckoon will spawn once you've caught 1,000 fish. This also unlocks the Master Fisherman achievement. If you need to check, just head to Betamon in Login Village. He'll tell you how many fish you have. Once you do, they can be found in Wave Coast, and they'll quiz you on fish. Each question they'll give you has 2 answers to pick from. You can easily cheese this by going on Granosaur and just looking up the answer, but you can also follow along with me. The answer to question 1 is going to be Digi Anchovy. To question 2, it's going to be Marshing Fish Blue. To question 3, it's going to be Black Digi Trout. To question 4, it's going to be Digi Killifish. To question 5, it's Digi Piararuku. And question 6, it's Digi Eel. If you get all of them right, Geckoon will head to Server City, and if you talk to them, they'll give you a random fish. Subon spawns in Modular Forest after achieving 10,000 kills and collecting at least 20 of each type of species pastille. You can see my item farming guide on how to make this a little bit easier. You also need to have recruited Medicmon and Musclemon by this point. When you first talk to him, he says that he does want to go to Server City, but it turns out he has a chronic case of mesophobia and literally has a panic attack at the prospect of even inhaling a germ. Go back to Server City and speak with Aidmon. She'll propose a simple plan of just telling him the wilderness is dirtier than the city. Once you do, return to Subon and he'll gladly head to Server City instead of hiding in a bug and dirt infested forest. In exchange for pastilles and protein, he'll create specific EXP pills for you. Nunnymon will be found in Slippery Swamp after getting all our 3 training experts, though initially when you bump into him, he'll be drunk off his ass. You will finally sober up after you've beaten all 10 Tier 4 Elemental Mastery challenges, also known as Mastery Level 5. These are colored red. He sells very expensive chips that will increase your Digimon's natural power, which are in short, basically like a Digimon's IVs if you play Pokemon. Effectively, it's a hidden stat boost that they will have when you first obtain them. However, you may find Nunnymon drunk. If he is drunk, his shot becomes unusable for around 15 minutes. Useless bastard. Before we throw all our eggs in one basket, what is a D dungeon? A D dungeon is part of the map that's accessible to the player in the digital world that will be progressively unlocked throughout the story of this game. When you enter a D dungeon, you're unable to leave it or else it resets your progress. The goal is to climb through several floors with enemies, traps, and sometimes loot in order to reach the boss on the final floor for a big final reward at the end. Excluding the Halloween event, D Dungeon, Propane Yard, there are 19 total D Dungeons in Digital Tamers 2. I will only, however, be covering up to Ogre Domain in this video, as that should be all you need, and I want to encourage everyone to experience the finale of the story for themselves. Also, I haven't played the finale yet. As a refresher, you can only access D Dungeon Quest once you have beaten the Dungeon Dwellers Challenge and have recruited Rappurimon to Server City. For any recommended items I would take, for healing, I would purchase any level 2 plus meat farm product except for rotten meat so you don't risk getting sick, or steel meat because that's an equipment and not a consumable you can have in the overworld. For utility gear, bug zappers if you have a harder time with the warp bugs and food bugs, smoke bombs from level 4 Greymon if you just want to get through enemies faster. Though, now that D dungeons are shorter than average, they have a higher chance of failure, so pick your poison here. For any mist gear, I would take the compasses from Compassmon and make sure you have a lot. They are pretty expensive, but I would always recommend bringing a compass to the first time you have to access the D dungeon, and only taking one for any subsequent runs you're going to do to get data drops with any floor bosses. Even then, I would really only recommend you bring compasses to a D dungeon that has 13 floors or higher at minimum, 16 if you're especially efficient at getting through, but with these with no problem.
Goo goo gaga, I want milk.
Petite Domain is the first D dungeon you have unlocked once you recruit Recruitment. In fact, it is so short you probably won't even have to worry about starving, as it's only 4 floors. This has no relevance to the D dungeon storyline, but it is basically a tutorial level and it's very good for farming Digi hardwood. You can also get your hands on some nice goods here early on, like the 3 levels of Goliath rings. But beyond that, not much to write home about. I even timed myself on this one to show you just how fast some of the earlier D dungeons can be, and this one was just under 2:30.
I am Steve.
I won't be discussing the story D dungeons right away because I want to get some of the NPCs finished. After recruiting Rappurimon, if you talk to Groundramon, he'll mention he had a friend named Kenkimon who was a great engineer in their prime. However, Kenkimon had quit the job and went into hiding after one of his projects tumbled down, courtesy of Nisei recklessly tunneling under the supports. Chrome Domain can be found in the Chrome Mines and is only 6 floors long. This D dungeon will have Digimon reaching up to the ultimate level, but primarily centers around the dark species and pitch black opponents, a few Earth Digimon sprinkled in here and there. Once you reach the bottom, Kenkimon will be found there moping, and initially he won't be super receptive, but once you tell him the truth of the accident, he agrees to come to Server City. You can trade in materials and bits to upgrade your shops to get access to better items on sale, or better items from your farms.
Y'all ready for this? Oh no! They were ready for that!
After you recruit Starmon, see the last video to figure out how to do that, he'll give you a quest to go on. Apparently, he's worried about a friend of his, Nanomon, aka Datamon to you English enjoyers. So that's for that one commenter? Yeah, this is the part of the video you need. He hasn't seen Nanomon in a while, and he asks you to go down to Mechanical Domain to find them. Mechanical Domain has 13 floors and primarily focuses on Steel or Thunder Machine Digimon. I'd recommend specifically for this D dungeon you bring a partner who has the Earth element. Once you reach the bottom, Nanomon sensors read you as a threat, and you'll have to go through a boss rush. Also, all 3 fights in full and briefly explain each opponent. Your first Digimon opponent is going to be Restoranamon, and he's by far the easiest at only level 80 and being quite slow. But his pulverizer attack might catch you off guard if you're not paying attention. Your second opponent is going to be Chaosdramon, who's a bit harder. On occasion, Chaosdramon might boost one of its 2 offensive stats, and it has a combo/multi-shot moveset that makes getting close to it a bit dangerous. But it's definitely nothing you should be concerned about if you max out your partner at this point. The final Digimon you need to beat is Raidenmon, and he's a doozy. While your last 2 opponents were only level 80, this ultra level Digimon is at level 100. Its ability Terabyte size prevents you from stun locking it, and it has a ranged bomb/multi-shot moveset that makes getting close extremely risky. However, it is slow, and its attacks are telegraphed pretty obviously, so if you came knowing what you're getting into, you'll be fine. After Nanomon calms down, he'll explain that his studies ended up having a negative consequence on his ability to recognize friend from foe, and he heads to Server City where you can reset your Tamer skills to Tamer points, so long as you have 10 catalytic capacitors on hand. We can move on to the main story. To begin, talk to Hina in Server City. She'll tell you that her suspicions about Greymon were confirmed. His data readings are so abnormal because he's something called a boss Digimon. Boss Digimon are a type of Digimon who are much larger and stronger than their average sized peers, and they have a taste for violence so strong, fights between tamers and bosses could go on for weeks on end. Though after reverting from Metal Greymon, he wasn't a violent monster, so Hina asked you to go look for him. When you get to Greymon's house, you meet a mysterious, pure white Skull Knightmon, who proclaims he was expecting you. He tells you now isn't the right time for you and Greymon to reunite, as Greymon needs to find himself, but he warns you that Greymon isn't the only one of his kind. Back in Login Village, Digimon requests your help. He tells you that an abnormally large and powerful Impmon has started attacking the residents of Dyna Plains. They've hunkered down and taken shelter in Green Domain, which has now been unlocked. It's a very short trek of floors to get to this boss. When you get to the bottom, Impmon will boast about how strong he is, and he'll challenge you to a fight. He's only level 65, but make no mistake, he can hit much harder than he looks. This Impmon also has a unique moveset compared to others of his kind, so be careful. Cross, honey, you can stop now, cross, relax! In disbelief that he's been defeated, he slowly begins to die and disintegrate into data. Hooray! We've prevented another Leomon genocide for another few years! Reuniting with Hina, you tell her about the appearance of the boss Impmon in Green Domain. This is frightening news to her, as they still have no leads on the resurgence of the boss Digimon's return. When she suggests finding Greymon again, Skull Knightmon appears to warn against it, and reminds us that Greymon still needs to find himself and learn who he truly is. Badgering him with questions he can't answer won't help with anything. Skull Knightmon claims he may be able to give us the answers we need about where the boss Digimon come from, so long as we follow him to Jagged Rocks. This will open up Ancient Domain, another short trip of just 6 floors. When you arrive, Hina and Skull Knightmon are waiting. Skull Knightmon opens the passage for you, mumbling about his longevity and how he's learned of many stories of the past, and this one he certainly hasn't forgotten. Hina, of course, wants us to go in first. Coward. When you reach the bottom, Skull Knightmon shows you both a mural, detailing the history and origin of the boss Digimon. There's a lot of yapping here, so I'll summarize it with some storytelling flair. In the ancient times, the world was ruled by a might means right mentality, and there were many wronged in the raging lust for supremacy. An angel Digimon, whose heart once beat of justice, became scornful of their god while watching the discord in the world below. How could an omnipotent, omniscient, all-loving deity allow such wickedness to prosper under their eyes? Consumed by despair, the angel rebelled, but as punishment for their insolence, God cast them down onto the mortal plane, where the very same beings he once judged for their ruthlessness began to influence him, turning him down the path of revenge. By using the power of their Astral Snatcher attack, he would steal and condense the souls of many Digimon, trapping them within colossal Digitama, which would then hatch into what he deemed biologically optimized superior subjects, aka the boss Digimon. Chaos ensued throughout the land, and by their nature, the boss Digimon sought to become stronger, more powerful, feeling their egos as superior beings. Only when brave humans and the partner Digimon they shared bonds with joined the war against these beings that the era of the boss Digimon finally came to an end, and the fallen angel was sealed away, banished to the deepest parts of the dark area, never to be seen again. While thoroughly amazed and impressed, Hina is confused on how she could have missed something like this. Skull Knightmon says he tends not to interfere with the natural order, but this being so abnormal led him to want to offer his assistance, by at the very least, helping us learn our enemy. There are many more boss Digimon appearing all over the digital world, so we must be prepared. Speaking of the boss Digimon though, after Skullnaimon leaves, we get attacked by a boss Dromojimon, who's fully ready to wreck the mural and us with it. Though he's only level 67, so he shouldn't be that much of a problem. Just ignore the part when Renoa misses her super, okay? Yeah? Good. After defeating Dromojimon, it disappears into nothingness, saying that those who don't learn history are doomed to repeat it. Sounds familiar. Anyway, Hina says she's going back to Server City to figure out what her next game plan is, and to find that mysterious angel. Continues with Greymon sulking in Modular Forest. We get a small insight into his struggles and thoughts. He wanted to be just as strong as you. No, that's not it. He wanted to be your friend. For some reason, his mind keeps associating them like they're one and the same, and he thinks something is wrong with him. Back to the Server City B plot, Hina says she's still coming up to Arc on the Fallen Angel's whereabouts, but she reports that she's located the signal of another boss Digimon inside of Sizzling Desert, and she asks you to go confront it for her. When you arrive, you meet a giant Sukaimon, who is quickly assimilating data. All of what he devoured empowers him to evolve into his next form, Devimon, where he finally notices you. Wanting the data you've accumulated to make himself stronger, Devimon challenges you to a fight. After you defeat him, Devimon surprisingly accepts his defeat with grace and tact.
Psych!
Nah, I'm just kidding. He laughs in your face for trying to play the hero and stop the resurgence of boss Digimon. He proposes that the idea of morality doesn't really matter. Good or evil, all boss Digimon are born to get more powerful. Defeating them won't change what they are at their core. Turns out, Greymon was listening to all of this, and he's now hit with the question. Is that it? Is he just destined to be some brutish monster lusting for power? The creature that stomped out Server City for nothing but anger and spite? He'd go to you to ask for advice, but he's not even sure if you still want to see him again.
Dinosaur King is what you wanna be, yeah.
Now you gotta go to talk to Beautymon in Server City, where she asked for your assistance. Apparently, while Big Mama T was at her spa trip, she told Beautymon that her beloved girlfriend headed down to Fossil Domain to handle something down there. Beautymon, of course, is worried sick and wants you to go down there and check on her, just in case. Fossil Domain is only 9 floors and consists primarily of dragon species Digimon. And it's a good thing she did, because it seems like a boss Galemon has her favorite lesbian queen pinned down. Come on, let's help her out. After defeating Galemon, it'll die and fade away. Lady Devimon is very grateful for our help and tells us the latest hot gossip she got from eavesdropping on a drunken Andromon at a party. But it's information we already know, so there's no need to repeat ourselves. Anyway, Lady Devimon offers to help us investigate the mysterious fallen angel situation, hooking us up with a friend of hers who can take us down to the dark area. Oh, and she also asked us to pass along a kiss for Beautymon. They're so cute, oh my god.
Hey, Fred, give me a pizza with extra cheese.
Extra cheese.
And hold the tomato sauce.
Hold the tomato sauce.
And hold the crust.
Hold the crust.
Hey, Jimmy, give me a cheese with nothing.
Nothing?
From here, you can go to 2 different locations, Volcanic or Shadow Domain. Talking to the Bagramon couple, they'll ask you to make a delivery to a customer down in Volcanic Domain, Blue Maramon. However, since the D-Dungeon itself is obviously in a volcano, it's way too hot for the couple to handle and make the delivery themselves, so they ask you to do it to save their reputation. I'm not sure why they think we won't melt, but whatever, man. They'll send you off with 5 cyan pretty burger patties, and you'll be on your way. Volcanic Domain is only 13 floors, and your first trip here you will actually have to make it to the bottom. We'll be coming back here a second time to fetch another Server City NPC, but for now, just deliver the burgers to Blue Maramon and move on your way. Side note, he says the only reason he goes down here to get his orders is to make sure his food is hot. Buddy, you're made of fire.
You must be the Belmont.
Shadow Domain, you first need to complete Pitch Black Endurance 1 through 4, then talk to Venom Boundamon in Server City. He'll offer you an escort to the dark area, but he does warn you that the place is quite dangerous. When you arrive, the entrance is blocked off by a Newbimon, who you will have to fight. Unfortunately though, you do have to fight a Newbimon for every return trip to the dark area. It is very irritating, I know. Shadow Domain is only 13 floors long and has a similar lineup of enemies to that of Chrome Domain. Reaching the bottom, you'll meet with Lady Devimon and come face to face with the fallen angel and creator of the boss Digimon, Bagramon. Interestingly enough though, while he still boasts about his creations, Bagramon claims to be innocent. Sure, boss Digimon may spawn naturally, as the coding to create them is now a part of the digital world itself, but for such a rapid resurgence like this, someone would have had to find his code to utilize it to create multiple of them, which of course annoys him. Initially though, Lady Devimon calls foul, but she eventually comes around to think that Bagramon is being honest, considering he is currently trapped in the dark area. But if Bagramon isn't the one who's guilty, who did it? Dang, getting crucified by your own arm is crazy work. Could never be me, dude. Returning to report to Hina, you tell her that you managed to find Bagramon. However, your investigation still remains fruitless, as he still is trapped and appears to be entirely innocent. Still, with not a single lead on the boss Digimon's appearance, Hina starts to panic. She luckily manages to ground herself, but she can't help but feel disappointed. They're getting absolutely nowhere, and the digital world is still in danger. She feels like she's failing her purpose as a tutorial program if she can't even help you investigate this matter and get answers. Meanwhile, Greymon is stomping around Wave Coast, throwing his weight around against a helpless Hikakumon who pleads for his life. Initially, Greymon isn't too keen on sparing his opponent, as it is his destiny to subjugate and overpower all other digital life forms. But yet, part of him still feels unhappy. Is this truly what he wants with his life? To just be that monster? Oh, how he deeply yearns to be close to you, to see you forgive him. Greymon decides to let Hikakumon go and do a bit more soul-searching to find out what he truly wants, if he's even allowed to have a choice for what he wants in his life. But Will he like the answer that he finds?
Am I glad he's frozen in there and that we're out here and that he's the sheriff and that we're frozen out here and that we're in there and I just remembered we're out here.
In the Snowland, Skull Knightmon the Pure makes a reappearance, telling us it's finally time to reunite with our good friend Greymon. Something big is going to happen, something that threatens Greymon's future, and it's up to us to intervene before it's too late. Frigid domain is pretty short, only being 9 floors and having most of its enemies beat the ice element. Hope you pack some heat on your way down. Arriving at the final floor, Greymon seems to be meeting with his first fellow boss Digimon. Unfortunately, this first fellow is Devimon, who proclaims to be his friend of some sort. Greymon tries to vent about his vulnerabilities and insecurities since losing his relationship with us, the player, but Devimon finds the idea of being attached to the idea of friendship absurd and a sign of weakness. However, in the middle of his scolding of Greymon, he notices us. Greymon is shocked to see us here, but Devimon isn't, and he's more than ready to kill us if it means correcting Greymon's behavior. Everyone, cue the boss fight. Devimon, of course, decides he suddenly has plot armor and makes you lose anyway. He calls you a fool for thinking he'd fall so easily after his last mistake, and proclaims he's now much stronger. Raising his attack, he threatened to destroy you and your partner as he did many souls before you, for he will become the most powerful Digimon of all. It is his destiny. But then, BAM! Greymon comes to your rescue, leaving in front of your partner to protect you. He tells Devimon to knock it off, and even if he doesn't understand his identity, he swears on his life he won't let any harm come to us. So what if he's done terrible things? So what if we never forgive him? Who cares? All he knows is that we're his best friend, his only friend, and he won't let Devimon take us away from him again. Devimon is pissed. Grabbing Greymon by his throat, he mocks his insistence on friendship and calls him a worthless piece of trash data. He snarls, goading that Greymon will never truly overcome his instincts and lust for power, bestowed upon the dinosaur since his birth. To fight against his very purpose as a boss Digimon, a living weapon. Preposterous! Those worthless feelings are only chains. Greymon pleads for our forgiveness, much to Devimon's disgust. While he could kill Greymon where they stand, Devimon believes that this is far too merciful, and has more thorough plans to discipline him and prove what he truly is. He then turns to us and tells us that things aren't over. Then, just as quickly as we were finally together with Greymon, he once again is gone, taken away by Devimon with no clear sign of where they went. After beating a good friend part 2, you can talk to Drakmon in Login Village to unlock some new 5-star challenges. Before he sets you up, you need to deliver 5 golden carp dishes. These can be prepared by Sechuimon if you have 3 Digicarp and 3 golden acorns per dish. You'll find these challenges, which are colored gold, at the bottom of your challenge screen. Keep this in mind, we'll need these for one of our next NPCs. Remember when I said we needed those challenges? This is why. When you beat all 3 HP training expansions, you can talk to Volcanic. He says that it's totally rad that you worked out so hard to get those medals, and explains his request. There's another workout expert in Volcanic domain, Volcanic, who he wants to partner with to improve the training his gym has to offer. However, Volcanic has told him no multiple times. He thinks that since you clearly take working out very seriously, maybe you'd be able to convince him. This is the second trip to Volcanic domain, and it's early on floor 11, where Volcanic is hiding. The gimmick of Volcanic's encounter is that he'll run around the grid, and you have to catch up to him and talk to him again. My trick for this is that I attempt to scan for Volcanic on the 2 center rows. If he's not there, then I move to scanning column by column. Once I see him, it's just a matter of following him until I can cut him off. When you catch him, he's so impressed that he agrees to join Server City, This will uncap your HP, creating the new cap of 50k, and improve training and experience gained from Bulkmon's gem.
Welcome to Bible study. We're all children of Jesus. Kumbaya, my Lord.
Next is Imperion Domain, which is a 13-floor dungeon with mostly light and holy Digimon. Angemon unlocks it for you and explains the situation. A client, Omegamon, yes, the Omegamon, has requested a new Transcendent Sword, as his was beginning to dull. Angemon, though gleeful to accept, has just remembered he did not have one in stock for them. Oopsies. Not wanting to disappoint a valuable customer, he called his supplier, who did have a spare. All he asked us to do is go meet her and take care of the delivery. Arriving at the bottom, we meet Ophanimon, who explains that she's also a bit short on stock and was planning to stop by Angemon's for a stained shield before making her deliveries. Realizing that we were sent by Angemon, she apologizes profusely, and not wanting us to leave empty-handed, gives us a diamond. How shiny!
Я сегодня тебе принес не букет из пышных роз, не тюльпаны и не лилии, а всего лишь петунии и...
In Server City, you'll find a timid old Warumanzemon hiding out behind the gym. He's apparently got a huge crush on a beautiful but intimidating Digimon named Raphaelismon. While he desperately wants to talk to her, he can't bring himself to approach her and asks us to deliver his love letter to her in his stead, but not to tell her who wrote it just in case she rejects him. Flowery Domain is 31 floors long and mostly has plant and insect Digimon. They can be found next to Modular Forest on your world map. Arriving at the bottom, Alita Raphaelismon curiously accepts a love letter. She reads it and finds herself absolutely smitten that someone could see beyond her brooding darkness. Charmed, she tells us that she doesn't want to know who it is, and that if they meant their words, they'll come find her. Returning back, Warumanzemon is ecstatic to learn that she accepted his feelings and rushes to go meet her, thanking us for everything. So yes, Warumanzemon pulled a hot goth baddie before any of us.
It's a bridge. Just goes around the corner. Walking on the fighting side of me. That don't look like it. It don't. It don't go down.
Robert, it goes down.
No, it don't.
It do go down.
Oh! Don't!
Back in the Snowlands, you'll find a meek Penmon who asks for your help. He has a huge craving for a rare fish that's known as a cunning cod. The only problem is, it's extremely rare to find one. So rare, in fact, that only a legendary fisherman can catch it. Fortunately, Penmon knows where such a Digimon would be. Unfortunately, he's in the Cold Sea domain, where Penmon is much too afraid to go. He marks the D dungeon on your map and asks you to fetch him a cunning cod. Cold Sea domain has 31 floors and is very similar to the enemies of Frigid domain. Arriving at the bottom, we'll meet a leader, Vikemon. He seems pleasantly surprised to get a guest down here in the cold waters. Vikemon offers to teach the player where and how to catch cunning cod if we can beat him in a battle. Chuckling after we give him a solid beatdown, Bagramon tells his tale. All you really need to know is that the reason he caught cutting cod so easily is because he quite literally lives where they school. If you ever need any more, you can come down to the cold sea to fish them up as you would any other fish. He hands you one for free to give to Penmon. When Penmon receives his cutting cod, he's excited to head to Silver City to have the Greymon prepare it, functioning as the Geckoon equivalent for liquid materials instead of fish.
Stand ready for my arrival, worm.
Ogre Domain is actually unlocked much earlier in the story, right after accessing Shadow Domain, but I'm covering it last as it is the longest D-Dungeon. First, after doing the Shadow Domain quest, talk to Gaiamon in Sizzling Desert. He says that your meddling in the dark area has awakened ancient demons from within Ogre Domain, and it's up to him and him alone to put a stop to them. They'll disappear then after. Come back to Sizzling Desert later, and Gaiamon has learned that apparently only Digimon have hands and will in fact swing back. He offers that if you want to help protect the digital world from their invasion, go to where he marked on the map. Ogre Domain has 100 floors, and you'll have to fight a supercharged Gaiamon Ito mode as your final boss. I'm not recording it for this video, as it is already 37 minutes long, but if you want to see one of my fights with him, check out the corresponding video. Or if you want me to record another run with my favorite Digimon when she drops, let me know in the comments. Now, at the end of this video, if you followed everything correctly, your Tamer info will look a little bit like this, with every Login Village recruit and every Silver City recruit all unlocked. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope this video helped you out on any part you were stuck on. Please keep an eye out for a couple other videos I have planned coming out, as I plan to do a Cat and Dogs update showcase, as well as a guide towards part 3 of the story. So with that being said, once again, I'm Insomniac. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.